Yeah, great. Well,
Step
thank you,
on up.
everybody. Stepping on up. My name's John Quincy, and I am the Executive Director of the Minnesota Hemp Growers Cooperative. So thank you for being here, and thanks for coming by and expressing your interest in what's going on in the state of Minnesota for our hemp growers, our processors, and manufacturers of various hemp-based products. And so we're excited to have that opportunity to talk to this wonderful gathering of Minnesotans as we progress through the fair. And we're very excited to be able to speak with a number of legislators over the last several days. And today we're going to be having a conversation with Representative Rick Hansen, a longtime public servant and state representative. We're going to have a chance to talk to him about some environmental issues and the Minnesota is Ready Coalition, and of course about how hemp can be a part of the agricultural industry within the state of Minnesota. So with that, welcome, Representative. If you'd like to introduce yourself and maybe describe where you're at right now in the political process as you're campaigning with a new district.
Well, thanks, John. As mentioned, I'm Rick Hansen. I serve in the Minnesota legislature and I'm chair of the Environment Committee. I'm also on the Agricultural Committee and the Capital Investment Committee. And my old district was 52A. I had South St. Paul, West St. Paul, Mendota Heights, Mendota, and Lilydale. And I'm now running in a new district, which is all of South St. Paul, part of Inver Grove Heights, part of Gray Cloud Island, Newport, St. Paul Park, and Cottage Grove south of Highway 61. I actually grew up on a farm in Freeborn County. My parents were World War II generation parents and knew what hemp was because it was growing. There was actually a POW camp in Wells, Minnesota, and there was cannery goods there and hemp, and Minnesota was a big producer of hemp for the Navy, rope, and if you still go to some farm auctions, you can find some old rope, vintage rope out there from some old barns. And I still am involved in farming, both with my brother in Freeborn County, and then my mother was from Fillmore County, and so I work with the Amish there, who still work in the old ways, and there's wild hemp at both of our farms. So,
well, that's a terrific background story, and certainly I think you represent not only your district very well, but certainly a cross-section of what Minnesota is, and that's really exciting to hear.
Yep.
And how long have you been in the legislature now?
So I was first elected in 2004, so
Okay.
I've been there a while.
Okay.
I was actually on the Dakota County Soil and Water Conservation District Board
Right.
before that. So.
Well, certainly soil conservation, water issues have been a big thrust of what you've been doing at the Capitol over the last several years, especially working with many of folks on pollinator issues, LCCMR and education issues and water issues. So if you'd like to share anything more about those kind of things, or what's a priority for you going into this next session?
Well, I think it ties into hemp and the potential for legalized cannabis. Is that we need an additional crop in Minnesota. We need diversity. Diversity is strength in our agriculture and many things. And so, dealing with water and dealing with pollinators and dealing with pesticides, all of that ties in. If we can get a additional crop in our state, I think we can be a real leader with that. And as we look at the potential for legalization, trying to make sure that we're protecting water, protecting the environment as we go through, I think that helps make a product better. John, you're probably old enough to remember, back in the 70s and 80s with paraquat and what happened when there was spraying of cannabis at the time. And I think what we can do as a Minnesota model is make good cannabis that is not going to be hurting people unintentionally if we've got pesticide use or excess nutrients in its production.
Now, you were obviously a big supporter of House Resolution House Resolution 600, which was a step towards full legalization, recreational use of marijuana. It had certainly other issues that were involved in it. It was a very comprehensive bill. What do you think the chances are in a future session, and what are the biggest obstacles that we're facing in the legislature in the next session working towards full legalization?
I think it's just a matter of time before full legalization, but it does take actual action. Things don't happen by accident, and your vote, Minnesotans' vote is really important, who they vote for, and it's been stopped at the legislature because of the GOP Senate, and I think it's really important for Minnesotans to vote. Now is the time when people are knocking on doors of all parties, and that's what I've been doing the last few days and few weeks, is knocking on doors, and I'm hearing from constituents that they want legalization. And wherever I go in the district, whatever age, wherever I'm at, people bring it up. I think it's really important, and that's what Minnesotans need to do, is talk to their candidates, and vote for candidates who want legalization. Now, I'm a Democrat, and I have a candidate running against me who's not, who's a legal marijuana now candidate. But if the vote gets split and I lose, you're going to have a GOP member who's not going to vote for cannabis.
Right.
So I think that's occurring around the states. It's occurred before. So do your research, and I think the coalition here for both hemp and overall legalized cannabis is doing a good job in trying to get the word out about these faux candidates that are running.
I think that's an essential point to really understand. Just because they have cannabis in their name by their party doesn't necessarily mean that they're actually in favor of it, and they could be really taking votes away from candidates who are actually working to pass legalization. So
That's correct.
education is the primary goal, I know, of the Minnesota is Ready campaign, and what they're doing is not just educating voters, but they're activating that base and tapping into that energy that we all know they have. As you're out on the doors, that you've already said, this is what people are talking about. It's actually an issue for them, and their question is why do we have to do it? They know it's coming. Their real question is, how come we haven't done it yet?
Correct.
Why haven't we done it yet, besides the Republican Senate at this point? Although not all Republicans are opposed to it on face, but is it getting a hearing?
It's moved through the House.
Mm-hmm.
It will, as long as control stays the same in the House, it will continue to move. We'll vote for it again. I think we'll actually have a stronger majority voting for it if we do well this fall, and if we can get the Senate, then it just goes to the governor and it goes into place. I think, when I was talking to voters last night, I mentioned that, I think we can do things a Minnesota model. We can do things. We've had a number of states that have been trying different ways of doing it. From my perspective, I want to make sure we don't have big corporate cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want Philip Morris to control the market. I think we want individual small businesses that are doing this. I want that freedom to organize so that you have unions, union workers that are working in good jobs. And I'd still like a small grow your own option for people that provides some freedom for Minnesotans as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've also had conversations with folks about just the not just the recreational benefits of using cannabis, but just from a public safety point of view, and where are we spending our law enforcement resources, and how those are having disparate impacts on different Minnesotans. That's got to be a big issue facing why we're trying to do this, not just to make money as a tax base.
Right, it's a huge issue with, the disparate impact on for folks who are being clipped for this. And I know that I've heard from farmers that just with the THC concentration in their hemp having difficulty. So I'm making sure that we're being clear and having those allowances so that folks who are trying to do the right thing on the production side, but also folks who've been nicked for cannabis possession in the past, that they're not being unduly penalized.
Exactly right. Thank you. Well, certainly from an agriculture perspective, representing, of course, the Minnesota Hemp Growers Cooperative, we want to make sure that we're building a Minnesota farmer-based ag product. And we know that there's many uses of the cannabis plant and different plants to do it. So we just need to make sure that there's the markets that are there. What's done is for the public safety and for the benefit of the economy that we all share and experience.
I'll give you one example that we could do, something we could do in government to encourage that. Just think of road construction projects and soil erosion. And you drive around the country and you see plastic netting. So you put that plastic netting down to prevent the soil from moving. Well, what happens to the plastic? It breaks down right next to the water. If we had hemp carpeting and just say, hey, Department of Transportation, just use a little bit of hemp, maybe 1%. Let's just try saying that you have Minnesota content, Minnesota hemp. There you're putting a natural product out there, holds the soil as it breaks down, and it won't break down for a while. It keeps that soil in place.
Really? Yeah.
It's a much better option than plastic.
Right.
You know, so there's little things like that if we're just creative, we can build the market, build the production, help out Minnesota.
That's exactly it. And yeah, and that is one of the things that we've been talking to visitors at our education area here on some industrial hemp products is, can it be used for erosion control by MnDOT? And it is in some areas being tested to do that. It's a fantastic product. We're also looking at some various building materials, whether it's hempcrete, whether it's wood flooring. There's a tremendous value in fuels, and diversity fuels is part of it. So there's so many things that we need to explore and bring together as a state on how to build hemp into our diet. And so we're excited to have you as a big supporter of that, and especially about your support at the legislature as we're trying to get candidates elected who support the legalization issues and all of the supporting materials around building and growing a vibrant hemp industry in the state of Minnesota. So thank you for joining us.
Glad to help out. Happy
Great.
to help.
Good.
Happy to hemp.
Happy to hemp. Hemp, everybody. Thank you.